Welcome to Zone In Sports, your favorite spot for real talk, bold takes, and everything in the zone when it comes to sports. From hard-hitting analysis of the Miami Hurricanes football to the hottest stories across the sports world, we're bringing you that energy, passion, and a little bit of swagger, just like the U. So whether you're tailgating in the Coral Gables or arguing in the group chats or just vibing in your way to work, buckle up. You're in the zone with your host, D. Hamp.
Alrighty out there. Hey, if you're just coming up in the building, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, comment below. Today, E and I are going to talk a little bit about the spring game. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the departures and some of the new people that's in camp and some of the comments Mario made about certain players. What's going on out there, E?
It's all good, bro. Just busy, brother. You know how it is. It's that time of year, man, between grass and gumballs and
I already know.
As soon as we get done, I'm pulling the tractor out the shed and jumping in on it, man, with the blower and all that to get some more work done. But otherwise, everything good. I've been seeing a little bit with the spring practices. I want to give a shout out to the Miami basketball team. They for what happened last year, they did pretty good this year, man. They went up against Purdue, and Purdue is just a little bit better. And Purdue beat Texas, but I think they lost last night to Arizona.
Yeah.
So I think the basketball program is on its way too. This young coach is doing it big with them, and the baseball team seem to be doing pretty good too this year. But we've been waiting for the spring to get here. And I've been seeing a lot of positive comments about Mensah and the other guys that have come in, the other receivers and the other players. It seems like the guys that have transferred in are already fitting in well, and I think we're gonna be in for another good treat this year. It might be even better than last year.
Yeah, I agree. I seen a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. Like I said, I've tapped into some of the stuff Mario's saying. I thought that was pretty interesting. And the first thing I want to talk about is Darian Mensah and some of the stuff that's the expectations on him. And what do you think? Something that you said a while ago that made a lot of sense, where I think a couple of weeks ago, and we said the same thing about Carson Beck. Manage, don't try to be the hero. Meaning that you got weapons around you. You don't have to come in and try to throw for 4,500 yards. What do you expect out of Mensah? Because I heard reports that he's looking really good.
I expect the same thing. I expect them to he's going to have the same responsibilities and the same roles that Carson Beck had and that Cam Ward had. He brings a few other intangibles to the table that Carson Beck didn't bring. I like Carson Beck. I've said it before. I'm going to miss Carson Beck. I thought he did really well, and I really hope he gets drafted and does well on the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Wish him nothing but the best. And I thank him for what he did, just like we thank Cam Ward for what he did 2 years ago.
Right.
But with Mensah, he's the kind of guy that's a little bit more mobile in the pocket than Carson.
Yes.
He's not as flat-footed, but he's not looking to run. He's more like Cam looking down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can buy time to look down the field, that's going to open up things for receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody going to get open.
Right.
You only have a small window as a defender to lock down your receiver. That's why the D-line is so important. If the defensive line is on point, it protects the back end.
Right.
In this case with Mensah, what he did at Duke, and if you watch the highlights from Duke, he can move around and he can buy time.
Yeah, with his eyes down the field.
His eyes down the field. He's
right.
looking down the field trying to find somebody. And I think, with the receivers that we have, this is going to be a nice season, man. The only naysayers out here, only naysayers are the usual people.
Joey, I haven't heard too much from Joey Galloway.
I'm not even saying with us. I'm just saying, from the college football people, period, fans, you're going to always have your Miami haters. That's a given. Okay. I'm really surprised with the Indiana fan base, why they still poking. I don't get that. Y'all won. Okay. Congratulations. Y'all won a natty. Why you still poking?
Right.
I don't think Indiana as a program is in the same position as Miami right now.
Yeah.
So if I was an Indiana fan, I would just kind of be quiet and reserve my shit talking for other Big Ten opponents within my own conference, instead of trying to go out here. You want to take jabs at Miami and for what? Y'all won.
Because they were putting up little memes about when, I think it was Purdue that beat Miami, and they were talking about the state of Indiana beat Miami.
Okay. All right. Get your shots in,
That's interesting.
There may come a time when Miami visits Bloomington.
Maybe.
Or now, in football, or Lafayette down the road if they play out of conference, Big Ten school. So, but other than that, man, I'm impressed so far with the people they brought in. The freshman coming in, this Van Stafford kid, he's going to be nice. He ain't going to be much of a drop-off, if any, behind Malachi in that same position. It's a testament to Mario, man. Everybody was dogging Mario. And see, it just goes to show you got to go through that fire first, man. You got to crawl before you walk. Remember, after losing to Middle Tennessee State and after having North Carolina come down and beat your brakes off you and run the ball down your throat for damn near 300 yards, and people was upset. I was upset, like, what the hell, not taking a knee with Georgia Tech and all those blunders. And now look at the reverse of that. You got all that behind you, and now it's just.
Now, I got a question. You've been saying, well, I think I threw a poll out there, but a lot of people believe that this offense will be more explosive with Mensah than with Beck. What is your take on that?
I think it will be, because, like I said, the one intangible that Mensah brings that Beck didn't. Mensah is more. Beck was more of a slow dancer. He could dance, but he slow dance with you. Mensah is more like a salsa dancer, faster feet, move. They both look down the field. Beck looked down the field too, but he took off when he had to, and he got the yardage against Ole Miss. He got yardage against Ohio State when it counted, A&M when it counted. But Mensah is a different type of dancer.
Right.
And he's looking down the field. And if the line so happens to break down, or if the other team were to blitz or send more at him, which I think they're going to be, pick your poison. If you get at him, he has a quick release. He'll get rid of the ball. He might not tuck it and take a sack like Carson did when it wasn't nothing there. He probably ain't gonna try to force it. He may just throw it up high and throw it out of bounds, throw it over somebody's head and throw it out of bounds so you don't get an intentional grounding or something. Explosive, that's vague. Explosive in what way? We got a dynamic running back room, probably one of the best running back rooms in the country. You got 5 studs, and you got 5 stars at running back. So the running game going to say a lot. That's going to really open up the passing game. We as a fan base should be really excited, because we got some really good receivers. They saying these guys coming in are even better than what we had last year with Daniels and my other guy that clowned against Ole Miss.
Right.
These dudes are bigger and stronger and more physical, and it's like them and Malachi and this running game with a healthy Elijah Lofton and the other two tight ends. Dude, the only thing is, and I don't even see it as a thing, is the O-line. How's this O-line going to look? What's the final layout?
Yeah, and that's going to be the next topic. Some guys out there saying that our mics are sounding bad. I'm not seeing it on our end.
I'm not either.
You guys check it. Let me know how that mic is sounding now from this point. But we're going to talk about the O-line. We know they lost 4 starters. So you're coming in with basically 4 more. You got guys that played meaningful minutes. Didn't played against these number guys ones.
They've had reps. They've had reps. They've been out there. It's not like these guys are fresh, ain't never played. The only one would be is Cantwell, and he's a freak. He's like Maui. No, he's a freak.
Correct.
He's a freak. He might even be more of a freak than Francis. Francis, 6'6", 330. What's Cantwell? 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, 320, something like that.
He might be even more of a freak. They said he was already moving people as a freshman coming down there in the camps, repping against dudes already on the team.
Yeah.
He was moving people. Dude, our fan base, if you really sit back and think, we should be so grateful that we have the coach and the type of coaches we have. We got some dudes that 10 years ago, 15 years ago would have never even looked at Miami. They would have went to Alabama. They would have went to Clemson. They would have went to Georgia. There's a possibility, people, that 3 or 4 3 and a possible 4. It's like playing spades. Yeah. 3 and a possible 4 Miami Hurricanes might go in the first round.
Crazy.
Ain't that crazy? You got Bain, Mesidor,
Maui
Noga, and what's the name that should have won the damn
Keontae.
You got 4 dudes that might go. The last time Miami had 4 go in the first round, I think, was in 2004 when DJ and Gore and Vilman them went in the first round. I think that was the last time. Sean Taylor and all that was when that was the last time Miami had multiple dudes go in the first round.
And that's crazy.
Do you think that's not going to resonate with these high school players the same way Bama did 10 years ago? And let's not forget 15 years ago in 2010, 11, 12, when Bama was getting all the top dudes and putting dudes in the draft in the first round. So where all the high school kids was trying to go?
Right.
They was trying to go to Alabama. Well, now the tables have turned. Now it's back to Miami. They ain't trying to go to Florida. They ain't trying to go to Florida State. I saw a D-back. He said he went to their thing, and he was like, he was unimpressed. It was mediocre. I'm like, what kind of shit they running down in Tallahassee? So it's like Miami is only competing now with Georgia, Ohio State. You still competing with Bama based off what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
USC trying to make some noise.
Yeah.
Texas,
Notre Dame.
Good and Texas.
Yeah.
Miami is right there. As a fan base, you can't ask for anything else. They right there, man. These kids, all these 5 stars, especially in your home state, they looking at it. I'm at the crib. Or I'm in Tampa, I'm in Orlando, and I'm like, well, FSU sucks.
Before we jump off, let me say this. And I'm going to get back on topic, and I wanted your opinion. I put something out last week about NIL money, and I think people kind of took it the wrong way. But what I was trying to reiterate is that when you spend NIL money,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
You have to get return on your investment. So what is return on your investment? Is it making the college football playoffs? I believe so. That's the ultimate goal because you make money throughout the NIL. Throughout the CFP.
You make money off every game you win. Look how much money Miami got money beating A&M.
Yep.
Then they got some more money when they beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Then they got some more money when they beat Ole Miss. Every time you win, you get money.
Yeah, so we all know they all spend money. You just don't want to be like Texas A&M when they spent all that money and didn't get any return on their investment. So that's the key. When you spending money, you got to get the return.
As far as for me, I believe in karma. and A&M got karma. Jimbo spent all that money to get all these 5-star D linemen and all these defensive players, and they didn't do squat.
Right.
That's because you left your old school Florida State a mess. What goes around comes around. You think you was going to get blessed by taking the money and bouncing from Tallahassee to go down to College Station, and then all the oil guys decide to give you all this extra money to go out and get all these dudes. You come back to Florida and get all the 5-star dudes you can to come to A&M, and you still can't beat Alabama.
Right.
You still can't beat Georgia.
Crazy work.
To the point where they told you come down to Miami with Tyler Van Dyke and lose.
Right.
That game they lost. And all them 5-star dudes, that was the year they had that #1 high school. They said it was the greatest high school signing class ever in college football, what they did.
Yeah.
And they came down to Miami and lost.
Return on investment. That's what I'm saying.
So to me, for them, that was karma.
Yeah.
For Bama, all these schools, they switched up coaches. Saban bounced because he's seen the writing on the wall. That's why Luke been getting at him, because I called it. Saban left Alabama because he knew his time of winning was over.
And we all kind of knew that. I think a lot of people that's in the Bama bubble didn't want to realize that.
They wanted to realize you can't win based off your name. Didn't Miami go through that?
Look, they wanted to put this narrative out, that Saban was so bigger than football that he can only win because of X's and O's, not that he can win because of talent. You know, they act like he didn't get the best talent, and that's why he was winning. He was just this brilliant mind. And I'm not taking away from his coaching ability, because he did have that. But you have to have talent with your coaching ability. You can't win with no talent.
Listen, I like Nick Saban. He instilled discipline and accountability with his program, starting with his coaches. He coached, but he didn't call plays.
Right.
He coached. Remember who his assistant coaches were.
Yeah.
His offensive and defensive coach, Kirby Smart was with him. All these other coaches that are coaching elsewhere, Sarkisian was his OC. Your boy that just bounced for LSU that was at Ole Miss. Remember, he chewed his ass on the sidelines. That was his OC.
Kiffin. Yeah.
Kiffin. So it's not like Saban was out there actually excellent Owen and calling plays.
Right.
He was a great CEO that brought accountability and discipline to the University of Alabama. He had brought it to LSU. That's why LSU won a title under him. It's the same as what Jimmy did in Miami. That's why, to me, I don't call Saban the GOAT. I call Jimmy the GOAT.
Yeah.
He borrowed pages out of Jimmy's book. I don't care what nobody say. Jimmy did that in the 80s. He was a no-name from Oklahoma State that came down to South Florida that everybody thought was going to fail, and he brought his brand of discipline and accountability and relentless coaching and relentless practice to South Florida, and what it do?
And the same thing Mario doing. That's show.
Same thing Mario doing. So when it comes to Saban, it was about he was successful because of his coaching staff. The same with Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney had 5-star Ferrari coaches.
Yeah.
That's how you could have a Goldilocks come in and kick out Kelly Bryant, who wasn't bad at quarterback, that went to Missouri, and you could go play for a Natty as a freshman.
Right.
Alabama can bring in a Bryce Young, can bring in a Tua as a freshman and tell, oh boy, all right,
I'm going to go to Oklahoma.
I'm going to Oklahoma. we got another Bugatti sitting right here.
Yeah.
Bryce Young coming as a fucking freshman, man, and beat Miami in the Dome in Atlanta as a freshman.
Yeah.
So now, not only can you get the best quarterback coming out of high school, you have the best coaches that can develop this dude to say, hey, everybody wants to question, is the kid ready to play? Is he ready to play? As a freshman quarterback, if you have the right coaches, then he can be ready. And it's only been 2 schools that have demonstrated that, Alabama and Clemson.
Yeah.
I can't think of nobody else in the last 10 years that took a freshman quarterback. Well, I guess you could say Johnny Manziel, because he was a rare dude.
Yeah, Johnny was.
I mean, his freshman year and do what he did as a freshman, playing up against juniors and seniors as a freshman. So you got to be somebody special, but then you have to have the right coaches and the staff around to put it together to make it work. That's why Miami ain't on that level as far as that goes, because if that was the case, Luke Nickel would be starting.
Yeah, or Coleman.
Or Darian Coleman would be like,
Yeah.
hey, I don't think Miami, I'm not taking nothing away from Shannon Dawson. I think Miami just taking a different approach to this as far as quarterback development. Mario's not taking that same approach.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And Luke Nickel wasn't the best quarterback in high school when he came out. He was in the top 5. And
Right.
neither was Darian Coleman. As good as they both are,
Right.
they weren't the number one.
Because I like Underwood at Michigan. I like him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a freshman, right? He started as a
nice.
Yeah, he's nice.
It's another kid that's a freshman in Miami trying to get. He committed to Alabama. See, the name itself. Even though that same quarterback coach ain't there anymore that had Bryce Young, it's just the fact that, hey, these schools get the best of the coaches.
Yeah.
And the best of the coaches are the ones that's going to – and Miami right there, look at your O-line being developed. Look at your D-line being developed. So as a fan base, we should be happy where we are, man. We are in such a good position on the board. If you're looking at the chessboard, Miami in a good position. Miami real
now,
good. I'm
going to put a comment up. I'm going to go. Let me read through some of these comments first, and then I'm going to put up the next comment before we move to the defense. Say the Food Stamp University commits must not like how we are spraying kick returners with water guns. Oh, he talking about Florida State. Oh, man.
Yeah, Food Stamp.
So they say Miami made 75 mil on the playoff. So they made 75 mil on a playoff run. Yeah, I think they did. I know they made what, 20 mil?
I thought they made 20-something million, and they got to keep all that money.
Yeah, I think they made 20 mil just the championship game alone. I think
they got to keep all that money.
And before we take this last one, we're gonna go over to the defensive side. We know they lost a lot of people, but I know you have talked about Lowe a lot, and Mario made an interesting statement about Lowe. And let me see, and I want to put it up on screen so everybody can have a context of what he actually said. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Yeah, let's see.
Y'all gotta forgive me, boy. It's Sunday. I got them oxtails going.
Hey, that's a good thing to have. Hold on. All right, this is what he said when he was asked about Lowe. And I thought it was interesting. And Mario always puts a little nuggets out there when he talk about certain players. And I think he said this to actually kind of motivate him. But he talked about the defense and he talked about the guys that's coming. But then he says the competition or the competitiveness is good. Cristobal said when asked about the D-line play, we're demanding more. We need to demand more. Coach it harder and move out everybody. There's some progress, but nowhere near we need to be. We need to be more physical, more consistent. Asked about Lowe, Cristobal said, it's on us to mentor, coach him the right way. He needs to be more consistent. He hears how talented he is, but his butt needs to be consistent and bring it on a daily basis. Now, take that from what you worth. But to me, he telling that boy, look, you better quit listening to what you hearing and get it cracking. What is your take on that statement that he made? And that, guys, that's on Kane Sports. If you guys want to pull that up, if you want the link, let me know. I'll drop it.
Yeah, send me that link when you get a chance. But
okay.
Yes, that's
That's an interesting statement, ain't it?
I'll tell you what. He's right. It's going to be up to Jason Taylor and my man, that the D-line coach. Oh, damn, I'm drawing a blank.
Damian Lewis.
Damian Lewis to get to coach him up and all the rest of them up. They have to be more consistent because come game time, you can't be hot 1 minute and off the next, because the play that you're off could be the play that the other team burns you on something. Yeah, these kids are young. They're hearing it. You the next thing. You're going to be better than Bain. You're going to be better than Mesador. You can be better. You can be better. Even Bain said that. That may be true.
Right.
But you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And I think Malachi is a good example for them because he puts in the work before and after practice. Bain did it too. When Bain was there, Bain did a lot of stuff after practice.
Right.
Working on stuff after practice. And if Lightfoot, which I'm sure he paid attention, you saw it in the game.
Yeah.
So Lightfoot remind me a lot of shades of Lawrence Taylor, college Lawrence Taylor. Derek Thomas, strong, tall, very fast off the line, lean, good hands, good feet. So, yeah, it's spring, but he's telling these kids, look, it's springtime now. You got to get the right mindset now, because when fall come, it's really going to be on and cracking.
Yeah. And the funny part, it ain't that he just called out them.
He called out the whole D-line.
Yeah, and I'm going to put up what he said about the secondary too, which I thought was very interesting. I'm going to put that up. And it's just interesting how Mario seems like he pushes the little buttons just to get guys on the same page, to let them know, hey, it's work to be done. There's a lot of stuff going on that you got to get cracking. So he was talking about the secondary, and he was talking about some of the returners coming. Again, I will drop this link after.
The secondary should be amazing.
So guys can come. Because he says secondary should be the major strength, with the returning, including Xavier Lucas, O.J. Federic, O'Connor, Brown. At the nickel, the team can use Bryce Fitzgerald, BC transfer Thornton, or perhaps even standout true freshman J.J. Duggins. I know somebody just asked about him in the chat. At safety, we got Poyser is back, Fitzgerald or Thornton can play safety. We're going to skip it, but he said, but
go back up to Dylan Day, because he was there last year.
Yeah, he didn't mention him though, did he?
Yeah, Dylan Day and Conrad Hussey. Look,
yeah,
that
he mentioned
secondary.
Hussey.
Hey, listen, that secondary gonna be nice. There ain't no doubt about
Right.
it. You go back up to all them names.
Yeah, but this is what he said. We need more durability and physicality out our corners.
Mm-hmm.
Our secondary guys, Cristobal said, we're not all the way there. Talking about yet. This is a process of hardening process. So basically, going back to what you said, he putting them up to let them know that it's a standard, and you guys got to go through this hardening process.
It's time to get it in. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's time to put last year behind you. Last year was great, but it's time to really get it in.
Yeah.
It's time to really get it in, because this is the names are there. The experience is there. That secondary, you named you show all them names again. I'm like, that dude from Boston College, a monster.
Yeah. Thornton.
That dude, a monster. I'm like, that dude is he gonna be like your boy Jacoby.
Yeah.
He may not play safety. He may play safety, because you got Miami that secondary is nice. They got the depth. All he's saying is they need to put it together and play hard and play physical.
Yeah.
I think Ethan O'Connor gonna be a lot better. Everybody gave him shit for what happened in the game, in the Natty game, because they picked on him.
But he was a freshman, right?
He was a freshman. Yeah. I mean, look, O.J. Federic got picked on in that Syracuse game. It only made him better.
Yeah.
And, corner is not an easy position to play.
No.
It's not an easy position to play. You're going up against some really good receivers. And if you go up against receivers that know how to use their hands, it's like boxing, man. You got to have good footwork. You got to have the right angle. I mean, you got to
get in the fire. It's just some of these guys, like you say, when you get out there your first time on the elite level, and you're going to get like O'Connor, it's just one of those things you learn by being in battle. So
you can't win every battle. If you go up against somebody like a Jeremiah Smith, you're not going to lock him down every play.
Best of the best in college football.
But you got to pick your battles as far as seeing what he going to do, what he capable of, how much room you got to give him. If you up on him, man, is he good with his hands? Can you pop him real hard? Are you good with your hands? Are you going to be aggressive? It's battles within the battle.
Yeah.
Especially at that corner position, at every position, but especially at corner position.
You've been hearing great things about Duggan. I will say this. Hearing them talk about Duggan reminds me of how they talked about slipping my mind right now. At the beginning of the season last year, it'll come back. But the praise that he had of him just reminds me of a player that he did last year. And it's telling you that he's probably going to get some significant playing time when you start hearing great things about him coming out, in spring camp. And then it's going to trickle into fall camp and stuff like that.
The other kid that got on that D-line, remember, he got hurt after, I think, the Bethune game, the second game, and they said, nope, we're going to sit you the rest of the year.
D-lineman?
Yeah, I think he played in. He was a freshman. And said he gonna be stupid. His name was on there when you had it up there.
Yeah, let me see.
Hayden Lowe, I think, is his name.
Yeah, Hayden Lowe. That's what we were talking about. He was saying that he just needs to be more consistent.
Look, when him and Lightfoot, when they come into their own, they're gonna make you forget about Bain and Mesidor.
Yeah.
And I'm talking next year, because by next year's time, this thing gonna keep on going, man. Because I just read on inside the U24, they trying to eyeball a few more 5-star world beaters on the D-line in high school now. They got something going now,
right?
And they trying to get this pipeline going with the defensive line, and that's what's keeping Jason Taylor around. Because these NFL teams gonna try.
Yeah, they trying to get him. And the funny thing is that it was Malachi I was thinking about. Don't ask me how I forgot Malachi's name. I just got so much stuff going on.
He was praising Malachi.
Yeah, but when you start listening to some of the tea leaves coming out when Malachi was in spring camp last year, just listen to, if you go back and you listen to it last year and listen how they talking about Duggan, it's kind of some of the similar praises. I know they're on different sides of the ball, but I always say, listen to what they say.
Look how 2 years ago what they said about Cam. They knew they had something
right.
with Cam. They knew in spring, like, hey, we got a Lamborghini right now. They knew in the spring when they got Cam, they knew right there, we got us an elite level quarterback that we can just go out there and he can call audibles. That's why he doing this thing in the NFL.
Yeah.
With nothing. Tennessee ain't got shit around him.
Not a damn thing.
Boy, the line is garbage. If they put some weapons around him, boy, anyway. Mario's a very good evaluator of talent, and he's doing a really good job with that. And like I said, our fan base should be real happy. Yeah.
Now the funny part that we're gonna talk about how you was saying that you said O'Connor was a red shirt. Okay, thank you there. We talked a little bit about Dawson. Now I'm looking at it on a positive thing because just think, he had, this is fourth year, correct? Yeah, this Dawson's fourth year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just think of the different styles of quarterbacks they didn't had each year. So, I mean, just being able to adapt to the different styles of quarterbacks that you have, try to figure out their strengths, I think that he's done or will do a masterful job. Now, I will say this, got to figure it out earlier. You got to figure out some things earlier with your offense because he is so different.
Remember what I said, man. Remember what I said. The coaches develop and evolve just like the players.
Mm-hmm.
That's every coach. I don't care if it's Nick Saban. I don't care if it's Dion. I don't care who. Every assistant. I don't care what you do on your job, whether you drive a truck or on a railroad like me, you get better at what you do. You evolve. As time goes, you look back and see the mistakes you made before, especially if you're not doing a redundant thing over and over every day, you're doing something different. Even in your own personal life, you evolve and get better at what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with these coaches. Dawson is getting better each year. You think Heatherman is going to take a step back from last year? He took a step up from what he had in Minnesota. His first year at Minnesota, he took a step up from what he did at Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
Now the talenting got better. So now he knows what the talent, and he made some mistakes last year. The Louisville game was the perfect example. He adjusted. So do you think Corey Heatherman as a coach is not going to evolve and get better as a defensive coordinator? Sure he is.
Right.
Shannon Dawson doing the same thing. You think Dawson ain't back looking at film, looking at every game from last year, looking at the Indiana game, looking at the SMU game, the Louisville game? What could we have done differently? What better calls could I have made? Aside from the fact that players have to execute, coaches get better too. Mario done got better. You think Mario is the same coach he is now as he was when he first got here?
Hey, some people do. I'm joking.
If they thinking that, they the same fucking fan they was 4 years ago.
You know, some people more.
You figure fans should evolve too. I mean, we're not getting paid for doing what we do, but you should, you know, if you have fans know the game and watch the game and watch the games within the game,
right,
then you would know that things change, things evolve.
Right.
Of course, the coaches are going to get better. You're not going to come with the same recipe every time.
True.
You're not going to make your spaghetti the same every time. You're going to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
You might make your barbecue sauce from scratch. Well, next time I might add a little bit more brown sugar or add a little bit more grape jelly. You do a little something different with it because, okay, I see where I can improve it. It's the same with these coaches. Dawson is getting better with it. People need to stop complaining about this man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought the point up.
Man, gosh darn. I mean, especially in our fan base, I don't care what the other fan bases say because I'm looking at the other fan bases. You see Florida State people quiet as fuck right now because they suck.
Yeah.
They don't have much ground to stand on even. Usually this time of year, FSU fans be chirping.
Yeah,
they
buddy.
be chirping since as soon as National Signing Day was over. I remember the FSU fans was at Miami fans.
They low key chirping now.
They ain't even doing that. I don't even hear them, dude.
Oh, I got a couple of them be at me, but they don't be talking loud
right now. I'm like, are they even around? What's going on? I'm so used to FSU fans running their mouth. I'm like, are they even around right now? No.
Hey, Gator fans talk a little bit more than they do.
They talking a little bit. Like, y'all better hold y'all breath. Y'all got rid of Napier, and Napier wasn't really a bad dude. It was
a lot
their
of
problems are more than their coaching. Their problems is with they upper people that run their football program because Gators have zero patience.
You ain't lying.
They got zero patience. They want some Tim Tebow stuff right now. And it's like, dude, y'all took a page out of Miami book. Y'all had a killer on the team. Y'all had some shit on that
questionable things.
Right, y'all had some studs and stuff. That's why y'all won that year. But anyway, our fan base need to chill. I ain't worried about nobody else. We in good shape. Miami in real good shape.
Now, we know Damian Wilson II coming over. A lot going to be expected from him just because you lose a lot of sack production with the departure of Mesidor and, of course, Bain.
For me, listen, man, for me this year, yeah, we all want more sacks. If we playing a team that's passing a lot, we want sacks. My biggest thing I'm looking for is stopping the run this year. I want more run stoppage. I want to see my man Scott and Blunt and them. I want them to stop that run. I want them to raise hell on that D line and put a stop to running backs gashing us up the middle for big yardage. Because Miami got gassed in games. They got gassed against Ole Miss. They got gassed a little bit by Indiana. Overall, the game-wise numbers look good, but I want me personally, I want to see Warren Sapp, Russell Maryland type, Cortez Kennedy type dudes that's like, yo, you ain't running up in here today. I don't care who your center guard is. You're not running that rock up in here today and doing that. I think if you could stop another team from running the ball, Miami gonna beat everybody. They ain't gonna have no problem beating with that secondary. If you force them to throw it, I really think that's the key. Everybody, don't fall for this. Don't drink all the sack Kool-Aid because of what Mesidor and Bain did, which was great.
Right.
The sacks are gonna come. I want my D-line to be unstoppable when it comes to stopping the run.
Yeah, because you figure you got Wilson, you got Moten, you got Scott.
Dude, them two right there, Moten and Scott are the key.
Davis that transferred over from Nebraska. You got Carter that came from was backup from Ohio State. You got Blunt, Lightfoot, Lowe.
Blunt is a monster on look.
Pickett,
Blunt,
Stroggins. So
that's why I said your defensive end with Blunt, Lightfoot, Lowe. You got some world beaters, and the dude from Missouri. There's 4 right there defensive ends. I'm rotating these 4 in. Okay, to me, it's them tackles in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Scott showed you last year why he was a 5-star. He really, his game, him and Moten both, their games really. I mean, dude, Miami could be this year. Miami could have the best defensive line in the country, and it's not even close with anybody else.
Yeah,
it's not even close with any. I'm talking about any other SEC school, Big Ten school. It won't even be close. They're gonna be up here, and everybody else gonna be down here with that D line. And that secondary is the best in the ACC and probably in the top 5 of the country.
Mm.
I want to see where we are with linebacker because we still got Moturi coming back in the middle. But that defensive line is undoubtedly the best D-line in the nation, without a doubt. With what they got coming, man, look. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Canes fan. I'm looking at numbers. I'm looking at sheer numbers. So, like I said, to me, the biggest thing is not the sacks, it's stopping the run.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Stopping the other team from running. If you stop that other team's run game, if you can get in there and be just vicious with it with the run, where you forcing a 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and you done tried to run on these dudes and you're only getting 1, 2, maybe 3 yards a clip. Now you giving their offensive coordinator something to think about. Do I want to keep trying to run on these dudes and I'm only getting a yard or 2 or 3 and it's 3rd and 6? Now I got to throw the ball.
Right. And even
now your stack dude's going to come into play.
And even with the linebacker, I think they got some killers behind them. I just think they're a little green. They just need to get a little bit more reps, which they will get in spring ball. And
your D-line protect your linebackers.
Yeah. So
if your D-line is what it's supposed to be, you protect it. If your defensive line is causing that run game to be stifled, whereas my second level are the linebacker. If my first level guys are shutting down run, to where my second level guys, my linebackers aren't having to do it as much, man. Now my safeties don't have to come up as much.
Right.
It's all a trifecta. It's a ripple effect.
I say Keona Davis, D tackle, like 6'6", 280. Good Lord.
See?
Good
size don't mean shit to me if you ain't doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but I think he is. I watched a little film on Davis, man. That boy was bringing it, boy.
Listen, I'm not worried about Miami D-line.
Right.
I'm really not. This is the first time I can say this. Last year we had questions because we didn't know with Carson. We didn't know. But after seeing, this year I really feel confident. People put a thing out on. I saw it on on Instagram, what do you think Miami record going to be? Some people saying 10-2, a lot of people saying 11-1. Oh, they're going to lose to Notre Dame. And my biggest thing is what is Notre? I don't understand this Notre Dame thing. They lost their running backs. The only thing Notre Dame bringing back is a quarterback and 3 or 4 of their offensive line.
Right.
They lost a lot of people on defense. You lost their receivers. You lost Love and the other running back. What is Notre Dame bringing back?
And I will say this before you even finish. You know how I feel about quarterbacks. They're going to have film on them because you remember that was his first year starting. So it ain't what you do your first year. It's can you repeat what you did the next year? So it'll be interesting to see how he plays after people have a full year of game film.
I mean, they got a really easy schedule. Even the Notre Dame saying, "Oh, this schedule is cake." It's cake.
Yeah,
it is cake. I mean, even a Notre Dame fan got to admit that this schedule is like high school, maybe a good team, high school. It's cake. Y'all got about 3 or 4 games on their schedule that might. Miami and 2 or 3 other teams, maybe y'all don't want to play USC anymore. I see why. USC might be a team that's Indiana for all the shit talking they doing. They the ones need to be quiet because I see about 4 or 5 games on their schedule where they can catch L's.
Who is that?
Indiana.
Yeah.
I don't see why they up on this pedestal either. They damn near lost their whole team.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm telling Miami fans. We just need to relax. We got. Oh man, I feel good about barring injuries.
Barring injuries, of course.
Barring injuries, that nobody gets hurt in spring, or nobody blows a knee out in the spring, or shoulder, or ankle, or Achilles in fall practice or nothing. I think these dudes gonna be. I ain't worried about Mario. He gonna coach him up. He already doing it verbally. You think they ain't doing it physically in practice?
Right.
You think he's just talking? Them just media sound bites for us and everybody else.
Right.
You think he ain't in them dudes' ass on practice? You think he ain't in their ear?
Right.
They talking to them like grown men right now. We ain't this ain't JFL or high school now. I said what I said to the media, so y'all can see it. So all the people that's pumping you up out there in the Twitter sphere and out there on the gram and on the book that's hyping you up. But you already know when tomorrow morning when you come in for drills and shit,
right?
It's on. When you come into the weight room to do your weights, we ain't letting up.
Hey, when I listen to Mario talk, you already know he's kind of putting out there what he's giving you tidbits. I keep telling people that. And if you listen to his tidbits, he's telling you some of the great things about the players and what they actually need to work on. Now, like I say, he's not going to put it all out there for us, as fans to know. And even so much in actual spring camp is kind of behind closed doors, which is fine. But you can get a good read of how he's feeling about certain players. He kind of don't miss words with that, with players, with especially if they're not doing what they're supposed to, because he gave an interesting quote about leadership. And he said that, and I'm paraphrasing, where right now they don't have a true leader on the team, paraphrasing. But if one steps up and they start speaking out, they damn sure should be doing everything right before they start speaking out. And that's the mark of a leadership. You just can't be out here popping your gums and you ain't doing everything right. So that you like to hear things like that, because a lot of guys can talk, but can you talk and lead at the same time by, being at practice on time, early, staying after practice, getting to work in, things of that nature. And I think you got some leaders on that team. I just think the overall leadership, it'll start coming into focus later. Like when Cam got there, I think we all kind of knew Cam was the leader, of the organization. That was kind of said from day one, but as it go on.
He was the alpha.
Yeah.
He came in with the alpha mentality.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
He embraced the alpha role.
And so it'd be interesting to see who emerges as that leader? I mean, could we read in it that Mensah didn't come in and they already, he didn't say that, just a different type of personality, but it doesn't make a difference who's the leader as long as you have a leader there, whether it's defensively or offensively, so that doesn't bother me. Somebody will step to the forefront, I think it's probably going to be, in my personal opinion, probably going to be Fletcher. I mean,
I think he already is a leader on the offense.
Yeah.
And him coming back, he could have went in.
Yeah. I'm glad he came back because running backs are so undervalued in the league, come back and get that money, you know what I'm saying, and have a chance to play for a national championship. So, I mean, being selfish, I'm glad he came back. But again, these the little things that they're working out right now. Receiver-wise, we haven't talked a lot about receiver-wise.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. I mean, nice. I mean, if you're going to grade everything, I'm giving A's across the board.
Yeah, because
nice. If you look at what's coming in, I like CJ Daniels. I liked him. I liked his moxie. I like my man. What was his name? That had the big game against Ole Miss. He clown. He made some mistakes early in the season. He cost Malachi a touchdown with that illegal procedure play against Florida State. But they say these guys coming in, they got speed and size.
Yeah.
They like 6'3", 6'4", and they got hands, and they are very physical guys, and they won't be bullied. They're the type of guys that can do the bullying. So you got, teams are going to be so worried about Malachi.
Oh,
Malachi going to get his touches because they're not just going to put Malachi out there in the slot where he can be, he going to be doing a lot of motions. He going to get his touches.
Right.
But when you're so busy paying attention to them, don't forget Mensah boy from Duke came too.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of one-on-one coverages. And you know who else going to reap a lot of benefits? Is Elijah Lofton, because they're going to forget about him at tight end.
Right.
They're going to forget about him. He going to float out there. Y'all going to be so worried about Malachi, and you're going to be so worried about the receivers. I think Mensah going to have a field day having to pick between people.
And to me, shouldn't nobody be able to cover Elijah one-on-one?
No.
Yeah, he a mismatch.
The thing with Carson was, and it's nothing against Carson, but Carson was, CJ Daniels was his guy, and then he got hurt for a couple games, and he came back. But then Malachi was his go-to dude.
Yeah.
When he was in trouble, he was looking for him.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to always be there. Okay. He didn't really trust old boy that left to go to NC State. He played with Jeremiah in high school. He wore number 0.
JoJo.
He didn't have a lot of faith in JoJo. The other freshman dude that balled out against South Florida, I just think he's nice. He's big dude. He just need to develop more.
Right.
He didn't leave. He didn't transfer out. That told me something. He could have bounced.
Hey man, y'all leave Carson alone. Carson wasn't weak.
Carson wasn't weak, man.
Carson
wasn't weak, man. Carson wasn't weak. Carson come out the SEC. Stop with that noise, man. I could see if Carson came from Tulane, or he came from, Wisconsin or something and came to Miami, or he came from Purdue or came from Kansas or something. I could see you saying that, but this dude came from Georgia. He didn't play nobody weak at Georgia. They played Bama twice. They played Auburn. They played Tennessee. They played Florida. They played LSU. He played up against the best teams in the country. Yeah. He ain't weak. He ain't weak just because he don't give you. He ain't the same as Cam. People was trying to get. He wasn't Cam. He ain't the same dude. Quit trying to compare the two. Now you could say Mensah's a lot like Cam. People are starting to see the similarities,
right,
between Cam and Mensah.
Yeah,
but no.
He said mentally weak, but I don't
think he's mentally weak.
I don't think he was mentally weak either.
No.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because
without Carson Beck, does Miami make the Natty last year?
Yeah, because I'll even go back to after he lost the SMU game. And you could tell that he was down. He was down after the Louisville game. He really was down after that.
Because SMU shouldn't have happened.
Right. And then he kind of picked it up mentally. They all rallied around Carson. And they told him, you kept hearing tidbits come out of how they had to get around him because he was so down on himself, because he knows some of the plays were, that, hey, maybe
he was down on himself, Dwayne, because of what happened at Georgia.
Yeah.
You gotta forget, we are all people, man. And if everybody climb on, I don't care who you are out there, if everybody climb on your head and blame you for shit and it's your fault, after a while that wears on you mentally.
Yeah.
It's gonna wear on your psyche no matter what you do in life. If something happens in your family and the rest of the family blaming you, and they keep blaming you and they keep blaming you, after a while it wears on you. So then you go to a new situation and something happens, and the first thing people do is attack you again. I can see why he was down. The Louisville game, some of it was on him. He tried to force, he tried to press.
Yeah.
Some of it was on Dawson. Some of it was on Heatherman. The Louisville game was totally winnable. When I go back and watch the Louisville game, Carson did throw a touchdown to Malachi. He didn't have the worst stats. The picks were bad, but, he forced a couple of them. But a couple of them should have been pass interference calls, too. The last pick, Elijah ran the wrong route.
Yeah.
That wasn't on Carson. That was on Elijah. The SMU game, well, damn, the first pick shouldn't have happened because JoJo bobbled it.
Right.
JoJo bobbled it. The last pick in overtime shouldn't have been a pick because a flag should have been thrown for pass interference. So, yeah, Carson, every quarterback makes some bad decisions. Name me one that don't.
Yeah. Every quarterback goes through adversity. I think people take adversity as
any level that don't have a bad game. I get sick of this shit. That if y'all would have been around in 01, what would y'all have done with the Boston College game in Dorsey? Where he threw 3 picks in that game. Y'all would have probably wanted to kill Ken Dorsey. Y'all would have been wanting to run him out of town.
I think they probably was. Shit.
And the last game against Virginia Tech, when they won, I think he had 2 or 3 picks in that game. And they still won that game and went to go to the Rose Bowl.
Right.
You're gonna have bad games, especially if you're playing up against good teams.
Yeah.
Did Carson throw a pick against Indiana except for at the end of the game? No.
Hey, I always say this, I say, especially to have an undefeated season, so you got to be good. You got to have luck.
You got to have elements on every part of your game.
Yeah, you got to have fast. Because you got to be able to overcome so much, because you got to remember, these teams were getting up to play Miami. Even like the year that when Cam was there and they went on that run, teams was getting up to play Miami. Like, it was like,
Vitek was doo-doo. But they was at home ready to play. Okay?
Right.
Who is this dude, Shirley, on Facebook? He always posting shit. He a Virginia Tech fan. He always posting shit about Miami. D.L. Shirley. Y'all know who I'm talking about. If you own the book, you see this dude. He always got something to say about Miami all the time. I think there's something wrong with Cat myself. Vitek gonna always be up to play Miami.
Yeah.
Always. They go back to the Beamer days. They gonna always to the Vic days in 98, 99. They gonna always be up to play Miami. Always. When Mike Vick brother was there and Miami went there back in 05 and beat them under the lights. When Marcus Vick was quarterback, they always up to play Miami. They could be 0-8, but when they play Miami, they're gonna play like they 8-0.
Right.
So as a fan base, what you crying for? We getting people to play at their best.
Yeah.
So now when you play the better opponents, you think FSU gonna lay down as garbage as they are? They gonna be up to play. They gonna be up to play. As shitty as they are, they gonna be up to play. It's just, it is what it is. Even Bethune and FAMU, we know they can't beat Miami. But guess what? They coming to play hard because these dudes all know each other. They grew up together. They played JFL together, what they call Pop Warner down there. Hey, They know that the SWAC and the other conference in the HBCU, the MEAC, they not on the same level with ACC, but when it's time to play, guess what? We playing like we Super Bowl champions out here. They're gonna get they gonna play their hardest and get these cats gonna shine because they might want to come back to.
I might agree with this comment here. It says Carson Beck wasn't bad, but he wasn't a quarterback that can bring you back from being down. He was 1-3 in comeback games. I think that's what he's saying. Now, before you answer that, I will say this. The team wasn't built to really come from behind. That's why they leaned on the run a lot. He wasn't asked to be a gunslinger, kind of like a Cam was.
I see what you're saying. He was 1-3 in comeback games. I'm trying to think, what was the game that they were losing that he came back in?
At the half?
The 3 losses were SMU, Louisville, and Indiana.
Indiana, right.
I don't put the SMU game. I don't put all them games just on him. I really don't. When I went back and look at those games, that's me personally. I look at a lot of it was coaching, calls, plays that were picked.
And I will say this: you should be better. Cam should have been better. As horrible as our defense was, he had to come back.
He had to.
The defense was so bad, he had to sling it all over the field. So that's what I'm saying. It's a different dynamic when Beck was in this offense because they kind of ran a more traditional offense. They wasn't.
They didn't put a lot on him. They did lean on him a little bit more, and I mean, we could easily say, man,
it's an Ole Miss game.
Yeah, they came back in the Ole Miss game.
Take it or David.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, the Indiana game, I think that was more coaching. Miami got the ball first. I mean, Fletcher had an 8-yard run on the first clip, and then you went to 3 passes.
Yeah.
4 passes. The first pass was a first down. Then you went 3 in a row passing and had to punt. I'm like, why did they get away from – and he wasn't running up the middle. He ran to the outside and got 8 yards on first down. I'm like, I see something. I wouldn't have went away from that.
Right.
And they did. And that was the first drive of the game. So like I said, looking back, you could have put Carson in a better situation. That's where Dawson got to develop now.
Right.
And again, when it comes to Carson Beck, I like Carson. I liked him at Georgia. I mean, look at the comeback he led against Alabama that big night, that game. I was in Miami for the Virginia Tech game that Friday night when we had to come back and win on the referees on that Hail Mary. They turned it around. Right. So the next night, the big game was Georgia and Bama.
Right.
And remember, Bama jumped all over Georgia, was beating the brakes off for Georgia. And then Georgia came back in the second half. And Carson Beck led the comeback, but Mike Bobo was making the right calls as the OC to bring him back. And the only reason why Carson got picked in the end zone is because our former receiver went out like a bitch at the end and didn't knock the ball down.
Right. He said Beck was protected by a good defense and a good run game.
Aren't all quarterbacks protected by that?
And on top of that, he still threw for 3,813 yards, 30 touchdowns. QBR was 81%.
Every quarterback is protected by that. I don't care if it's Dan Marino. I don't give a damn if it's Trent Dilfer. I don't care if it's Warren Moon. Every quarterback is protected by a good running game and a defense.
Because you know what? If you're not, you're a gunslinger, you get in trouble eventually.
After a while, that's what killed Marino.
Yeah.
He had no running game a lot of times. The Dolphins didn't have they wanted it to be all about him and how many Super Bowls he got. None. I like Dan Marino. He put up all them stupid numbers. He had great receivers, but the defense wasn't really always there. Miami, when I think running back for Miami in my lifetime, the only person that come to mind is Ricky.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this. He's partially right. They did have a great defense.
I'm not saying he's wrong.
Kept them in the game, but you still can't throw for 3,800 yards and say you protected. You know, that's a lot of yards. Yeah, I mean,
A lot of yards.
3,800 yards. If you think about, that's a lot of yards.
And you didn't play bums. You didn't play
Right.
any bums. You didn't play any bums. Notre Dame wasn't bums. Louisville wasn't bums. Florida wasn't bums. You can say what you want about the Gators. The Gators gonna put dudes in the league out of that team.
Yeah.
They had their line of scrimmage was on point.
Yeah, Gators, yeah.
The Gators, they
had a lot of injuries too.
They had injuries and they had they had discipline issues.
Yeah.
When I got a player spitting in the South Florida face player at the end of the game when we got the game won, imagine if they beat South Florida, then the South Florida game wouldn't have meant as much. The Gator game would have meant much more for Miami playing them.
Right.
They had a discipline problem with the Florida team. They didn't have a talent problem. Miami didn't play any chumps this past season.
Yeah.
They didn't play any. Even Stanford came out and played hard in the first half.
Yeah.
Miami didn't play no chumps, man. They didn't play any chumps. You can't say they had a weak schedule. You know, that's what them punk ass Notre Dame fans be saying. They had a weak schedule. No, they didn't.
Right.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Right. I just think sometimes, like I say, Beck kind of get the wrong end of the stick. You know, I know. I think a lot of people bought into the narrative of what they hear on Sports Center, waiting for him to make the mistakes. Okay, yeah, he did make a mistake. He did. I mean, we could all be honest and say he did.
From the outset, from the very jump to the year before, Carson Beck had to be the fall guy for Georgia. It wasn't going to be Kirby Smart. Kirby is there for the long haul. He's the coach. Players come and go.
Mm-hmm.
So when Georgia lost games and they lost the SEC title game and they got bounced out of the playoff, who do we blame? Beck.
Yeah.
We didn't, but when everybody pointed out the lack of an O-line, the lack of a running game, and receivers that dropped everything that got thrown right to them, people that know football knew it wasn't all on Beck. But when they take that story with the national sports media and run with it, because we got to protect who? We got to protect the head of the snake, Kirby. Kirby wanted the boy to come back.
Right. Right.
That says everything to me. I still got Gunnar Stockton, and I want Beck to come back because I'm thinking if they had a one-on-one battle in spring practice and fall practice, Beck would have beat out Gunnar Stockton for the starting job in Georgia.
And the funny part, somebody kept telling me Gunnar was going to beat out Beck, but I'm thinking like,
no, he wasn't.
I said, I don't know about that.
No, he wasn't. If you got a solid O-line, if you would have had what you had in 23 with Brock Bowers, McConkey, and that line in the running game, Beck beats out Gunnar Stockton. And Gunnar Stockton is a nice quarterback, but Beck beats him out. I put everything on that. Beck beats him out. To be a successful quarterback, you got to have a line. You got to have a running game. You got to have receivers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're a gunslinger like Marino. You're going to have 5,000 yards passing with no running backs. You're going to get killed in the pocket. Marino got his Achilles tore up. He got sacked a lot because guess what? I got no running game.
Right.
I got to throw this ball 40, 50 attempts every game because the defense ain't shit. And that's why I got all these crazy numbers. Right. So, yeah, every quarterback going to have that. If I got to throw the ball all the time, look at Texas Tech all them years in the 2000s when Mike Leach was the coach. Texas Tech was putting up 50 points a game.
Right. Shit. All over the field.
The Big 12 was good back then. The Big 12 still had Oklahoma, Missouri. They still had Nebraska. They still had Texas and A&M. And Texas Tech was putting up 50 points a game with Mike Leach. But they didn't have much of a running game, and the defense was garbage. Because if Texas Tech had 56, Oklahoma had 58.
Yeah. Couldn't stop nobody.
But you couldn't. But they was putting up stupid numbers with the quarterback, whoever the quarterback was. Who was the receiver come out of Texas Tech that was the shit in the NFL? Put up crazy numbers in the NFL too because he clowned at Oklahoma at Texas Tech.
Right.
Old boy name. But the point is, when I don't have a running game and I don't have much of a defense, I'm throwing the ball 40 to 60 times a game.
Yeah, gotta have balance.
Stop me if you can.
Crabtree.
Crabtree. There it is.
Yep.
All them numbers. Because you know what? Who was his quarterback? We probably can't even remember who his quarterback was, but guess what? He was getting the rock.
Hey, Crabtree was going to get that thing too, boy. Shit.
You don't know. Listen.
What up, Mike Jeezy?
Look, we all love Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice come from a small black college. But like my daddy always said, who was the quarterback throwing the ball to Jerry Rice all them times in Mississippi Valley? He never got drafted. Nobody ever got him. But if Jerry Rice was putting up all these stupid numbers, who was his quarterback that was throwing it to him?
Right.
So if I got the 23 line and Brock Bowers and McConkey and that running game, and I got a quarterback battle between Carson Beck and Gunnar Stockton, my money is on Beck.
Hey.
Simple as that.
Interesting point. Say Beck did win more for us than Reese quarterback. Hey, that's all I'm saying. Nobody said we want Beck back. We just trying to give the man his flowers while he was here and what he did while he was here.
If Beck would have came back, I wouldn't have been upset at all. If he would have had another year to play, no. I wouldn't have been upset at all. But
another year in the system.
His time is up. I wouldn't have been upset. Shit, we would have been that much better if he came back. If he would have had another year.
He said, I'm taking Stockton. Take him.
I'm taking Beck. I bet
y'all. You see what happened to Stockton, didn't you? Shit. Right. He got his head beat in, didn't he?
I don't care who you are. You think look at Cam Ward at Washington State before he came to Miami.
Yeah.
He had all them fumbles. He was getting sacked a bunch of times. Why? No line. What was the thing on him before he got to Miami? Well, he fumbled a lot. Yeah. He held the ball out. He had to scramble a lot because he didn't have time. He got to Miami and was like, well, goddamn, I can lay down and watch a damn movie before I got to throw the ball now.
Right.
He fumbled. His only drawback was throwing against the grain and trying to force something through a pick like he did against Florida. And they strip sacked him in the Georgia Tech game because he held the ball too low because Georgia Tech figured out, you know what? We got to put pressure on him. We got to really – teams are going to figure things out on you. You just have to have something to counter that. And usually what counters that is a good draw. When you guys are running backs, when I can just line up and say, all right, I'm going to run this ball down your throat. And I think this year, I think you're going to see a little bit more I formation out of Miami. I think you're going to
I would love to see that. They say, y'all OGs just like, hey, you know it's all love here, man.
Who else we gonna talk about? I damn sure ain't gonna talk about Notre Dame or Ohio State.
He said the network pushed the narrative that Miami had two bad losses, as if SMU and Louisville were some bums. Yeah,
they both finished 8-4 and they both won their bowl games. I don't think it's bums. That was the Notre Dame fans talking shit because they didn't get picked for the playoff, and they had their anger in the wrong direction. Your anger shouldn't have been at Miami. Your anger should have really been at Alabama. Alabama didn't belong in the playoff.
I disagree. I think their anger always been at Miami and it's always going to be at Miami. That's what I think it is.
It goes back 30-some years.
Yeah, I think that they really think that loss at the beginning of the season, that they shouldn't have lost that game. They felt they were better than us, even though they didn't beat us or A&M, you know what I'm saying? And that's that entitled mind state that they have. So I don't think they really was even tripping off of Alabama or anything.
Well, they should have been because you know what? They should have been because, to be honest with you, they got robbed in the A&M game. They did. That fourth down play that was holding, the Notre Dame dude broke through the line. He would have had a clear sack, and dude grabbed him and yanked him down. And I'm like, and then he threw the touchdown. And I'm like, how did they not call that? But that's another subject. I think the officiating in college football as a whole really needs a reset. I think the NCAA really needs to get involved in that. And it's bad in every conference. It's really bad in the ACC. But they really need to get this together with this officiating.
Hey, somebody asked, that's Jim Kelly you got, right? That's Kelly you got on?
Yep, sure is.
Jim Kelly, who I put it in the chat, wanted to know what jersey you had on.
Jim Kelly, yep.
It says, another thing everyone forgets is Beck took us to the Natty without practicing in the spring. Facts. You know, he set out all spring and did. And
Yeah, I mean, who knows if he would have had a chance to? I mean, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So we could sit
right.
here. Carson did all that right with no spring.
No spring.
Cam had a spring. Mensah got a spring. So to all my Miami fans, stop dogging on Carson and be happy. We are where we are.
Yeah, brought a lot of excitement.
I know me personally. I sat around. I took off work on National Signing Day. I never disliked Al Golden. I thought Al Golden got good dudes, and we never could get over the hump because of internal things with the school, external forces, and now they all worried.
Yeah.
My biggest fear really ain't the team. It ain't the coaches. Is how they gonna fuck Miami. That's what I'm worried about. How is ESPN or CBS or the powers that be in college football, how are they gonna leave this shit alone and let these teams play? Or is somebody going behind the scenes gonna try to find a way to screw Miami some kind of way? That's what concerns me more than anything.
You already know some stuff going on behind the scenes.
This ACC officiating is horrible. That's
horrible.
That's why I love the playoffs, because when they got in the playoffs, there was no ACC crew.
It's super horrible. And look,
I felt so good about that. I felt so good about that.
I mean, when we seen some of that I'm not even going to talk about. It's easy to fix college football officiating. Just get rid of conference officials and make them neutral like NFL officials. That's a great point. Get rid of the conference officials. Make them all under one branch.
Well, that's what they did with baseball.
Yeah.
Remember, back in the day, the umpires would have an NL and an AL. You was an American League ump. Now they all say MLB.
Right.
They all major league umpires. You might be doing an Angels game this week, and then you might be doing a Cardinals Cubs game next series. It wasn't. They stopped that separation. Now, some baseball may say they want that back because
the game's a little different. Yeah.
Because each conference was different in baseball. I don't like them having a DH in the National League. That was an American League thing.
Right.
I don't like time clocks in baseball, but I don't want to get off into baseball. Yeah. I like baseball, but in college football, every conference has their own officials. Maybe they need to go away with that and just have NCAA officials that you might be doing a North Dakota State so-and-so game this weekend, and then next weekend you got a Big Ten game. And the next weekend that crew might be doing a Big 12 game. And the next weekend you might have a game in the SWAC. You got different officials. They could cross the board completely. They just NCAA college football officials, no matter if you Division I,
right,
1AA, just all officials.
Yeah.
I think that would be okay in college football.
And grade them after each game.
Yeah, just like because in the NFL, you don't have NFC and AFC officials.
Right.
You just have officials.
Right. You grade them, see how they do after each game, and the ones that's struggling.
And I'm pretty sure that idea has been tossed around. I don't think we're the first ones to talk about that. Because I don't like the AACC officials. I think they trash. I think they are so trash. I really do. That's why I love the playoff, because they let these kids play. A lot of Indiana fans were griping. I mean, they have now been, the Indiana fan base is now on my radar as some of the bitchiest fans I've ever seen, along with the FSU fan base and the Ohio State fan base. They have really just showed a lot of bitch to me with their fan base. After all that winning y'all did, y'all cried and complained, and I mean, come on. Anyway, and Notre Dame, I would have to put them right there with Notre Dame and Ohio State fan bases. Is some of the crying. I'm not gonna say Florida State fans cry. They just talk shit. But them three fan bases cry the most to me.
Oh, they be crying.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, and not Indiana. All the crying Indiana fans. Y'all won. What you crying for? Y'all winning and y'all crying, but The
Hey,
AC,
somebody say Notre Dame fans are the worst.
oh my God. They do more crying. Man, they just, golly. Ohio State fans cry a lot too, boy, especially after they lose to Michigan. They, woo.
Hey, but I don't know. I think he's right on the money with the Notre Dame, because I'm telling you, from the propaganda push to all the network posting, and I mean the social media posting, and from the all the commentators trying to get behind them at the beginning.
It's us. We got a couple of homies that are Notre Dame fans here, and I was gonna propose to Dwayne that see how everybody's looking when November comes of taking a road trip, because we play at South Bend. And South Bend to St. Louis is about 5.5 hour drive, maybe 6. I said, man, wouldn't it be cool to drive up there? I hope it's a day game. Please be a day game.
Right.
I hope it's a day game because there's some other big games that day. I'd rather it be a day game when the sun is shining.
Right.
And I said, I would 2 of them in Notre Dame weekends, and we take a road trip up there, and maybe we can go live in the parking lot or something before the game. But we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I would go up to South Bend down and nothing but Miami shit, of course. I ain't afraid at all.
Oh, nah.
And I want to see how they cry up there. I really want to see it in person, how they cry.
Look,
I want to
after that loss, and then after listening to Jeremiah talk about the Canes at the combine, and
what's all this going on now?
And
they said Mario stepped to him a little bit.
Oh, did they? See, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Mario got at him for a minute, like, hey man, are you happy where you at? Now, which I mean, I ain't mad. Mario shot a little shot at him, man. Just basically saying, hey man, are you happy?
Yeah, because I mean, if you at the NFL combines, why are you even mentioning a game that you lost? Talking about that's your best memory of hurdling a person that a flag was thrown on and the play didn't even count. Now, we all know maybe he was trolling.
Are you talking about Love?
Yeah, I'm talking about Love.
Talking about Jeremiah Smith, the receiver from Ohio State.
Oh, no, I was talking about Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame.
I lost it for him on that. He from St. Louis, man. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, man, come on, man. You're doing a little bit.
I was talking about, they said Mario kind of stepped to Jeremiah Smith a little bit,
Somebody say he going to the Notre Dame game in jail clothes. Okay. Oh man, you gotta love that. He said we're going to the championship again, guys. Just give the championship to Miami. ACC is ours, man. Irish, we will beat them worse than last year. Hey, the funny thing coming to that Irish game, I remember we did a podcast and we were uncertain about the direction of the team. Beginning of the season, we had a lot of unknown receivers coming in. We didn't know, of course, how good Malachi would be. Beck coming in, hadn't practiced all spring. It was a lot of different variables, but we were listening to Mario in spring camp, kind of how we are now. And he was talking about the physicality that they're bringing. We knew the offensive line would be rock solid. And we kept preaching last year, as long as you're strong in the trenches, you're going to be okay. As long as you're strong in the trenches. If you got guys that can blow holes, I don't give a damn if you're a 3-star, 2-star. Hell, they can hit the hole. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that we're looking for this year. And Mario's talking about the physicality. The physicality. So that's where we want to go back to all the scoring 40 points a game or not. I want to stay on how physical the team, can they match the physicality from last year to this year? That's going to be the mark, staying physical. He said, not to mention that Jeremiah only had 30 yards rushing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're
going to have excuses for that.
Oh, did. Remember, they kept trying to say he was hurt. I'm like, hell, it's the first game of the season. How the hell he hurt?
He wasn't hurt.
Right.
He wasn't hurt.
His head tore off.
He wasn't hurt. They just saw he couldn't run on Miami. he wasn't going to be able to do all that fancy bullshit he was doing to everybody else.
Right.
And they didn't run it. Well, he didn't get the ball enough. Well, when he did get it, he didn't do nothing.
Yeah, because the other back, he was
that's
running.
why the other dude got some click.
Yeah.
They protected him. They saved Jeremiah Love. Look at all the games that Jeremiah – did he shine against teams that were really good? That's all I'm asking.
I always get in an argument about that, but no.
Did he shine against really elite teams is what I'm asking. I don't think he did. No. When they went to the Natty, did he show up in the Natty game against Ohio State?
No, they just showed that one run. I think was it in that game or the game before where he ran over the guy at the end zone and spun. And I think that was
he even in the playoff run that they did going to the Natty, he didn't clown. He had that nice run against Penn State.
Yeah.
But he didn't have 100 yards rushing against them. He didn't have 100 yards rushing against anybody in the playoff when they made their run for that national.
Yeah, and I seen comparison. They trying to compare him to Reggie Bush and stuff like that. I'm like, boy, did y'all watch Reggie Bush in college?
See, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Shit.
They need to stop with this crap. Stop.
Yeah, I said Reggie Bush.
He ain't even on the same level with Reggie Bush.
Right. I'm like, shit.
He ain't even on the same level with Reggie Bush, man. Not even close. It ain't even close, bro. I don't even know why they even mentioned that. That's ridiculous to me. Why would you bring that up?
Hey, look, I was shocked myself. I couldn't believe it. Said the trenches is the key for this year. Yep, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Jeezy, yes, sir.
It says we could throw the ball further than last year, and remember, we got mobile QBs that can run.
But Damon, keep this in mind, bro. Mensah can move a little bit better. Like I said, he's a different kind of dancer. I'm going to let you outside in a minute, boy. He's a different kind of dancer than Carson Beck. But he ain't looking to run too much. These quarterbacks know today, man. Look, the days of being like Mike Vick are over.
Right.
These dudes now, when you got dudes like a Lightfoot and a Lowe, and you got the dude like coming from Missouri, and you got big dudes like Scott that play safety, they out there, look, man.
Running 4-2 on officials and stuff.
These quarterbacks ain't trying to get hurt, man.
Yeah.
You saw what happened to Beck in that SEC title game when he ran to run for his life.
Yeah.
Damn near tore his arm off. That's why he got hurt.
Yeah.
Mensah ain't trying to run and be like
Robert Griffin III and get broke up.
I got to give myself some years in this league. If I get to the next level, I want a little longevity to get this bread.
Right.
He's not guaranteed in the NFL. Why? He ain't going to be out here trying to run. He might scramble around, but he looking down the pocket and he looking over his shoulder too, so somebody don't blow his fucking head off.
Yeah. Yeah.
He ain't, look, that Mike Vick, that's out. That was a once in a lifetime. Lamar.
That's he just slowed down. Look, hey,
Lamar got hurt last year.
Yeah.
Lamar got hamstring. That's some serious shit.
Yeah.
That hamstring is for real. What's my receiver from Tampa Bay when he hurt his hamstring? They had to
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. That shit hurt Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Dude, these quarterbacks are not trying to look. Them days are over, man. These defenses are way faster now. That's why they don't want you being a mobile quarterback in the NFL, because they know if you try to run too much, you're gonna end up like Steve Young and get your head blowed off.
Yeah.
Okay, these defensive players, these linebackers, and these safeties now. That's why they changed the rules to protect Brady and them. We got to change these rules, otherwise we're not gonna have no NFL. We're gonna have a running game. And that's it, because these quarterbacks are going to go out here and try to run the ball thinking they Mike Vick 2.0 and get their heads blowed off on these defensive players that's 6'4", weigh 270, and that can run like a missile, and it's over.
Right. It says, and Notre Dame can say we was up to the big too big for them not to be running. The QB that was playing in the first half should have been the main focus of the offense all night long. Yeah, they kept saying that. Yeah, they was like, I think even Big Kev said that, like, he got his foot in the second half, and he did play better in the second half, the quarterback. But
he nice.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. He nice. He ain't a bad quarterback.
Right.
He ain't bad, that Notre Dame quarterback. I ain't gonna take nothing from him.
Right. So
he nice with it. So ain't taking nothing from him.
Right.
It's just that
he said Reggie Bush still running.
Right. Can't believe somebody I can't believe anybody would even have the nerve or the gall to make that comparison.
Right. It says Love ran for more yards at the combine than he did against Miami.
That's why I would tell him he need to be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts.
I'm glad they didn't say nothing on the local news here about Love. I would have gone they page and told them the same thing. He had more yards in the combine than he did running against Miami. Stop it.
Let's see. Somebody was trying to call, but that's okay. We'll go back down. They'll call back. It says defense is going to be fine. No worries, and no worries here. And the secondary is going to be special. We agree.
I think they're going to be stupid.
I think the secondary is going to be.
My only question, like I said, my only question for me personally is just the linebacker position. You know, that's the only thing I'm not worried. I'm just like, okay, who's gonna be out there with Torrey? You know, I think Torrey gonna be better.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be better. As long as he stay healthy, he gonna be nice, man. He showed me a lot, man.
Health is going to be crucial, but I just think that it really all depends on how much some of these guys got better from their freshman year to their sophomore year. I think it's going to be really good opportunities out there for Wiley and what's the other guy? It's another guy that somebody was telling us about a couple of weeks ago. They put in the chat, but I think the guy's going to get a chance.
This is my opinion, man. I think Miami gonna make another run for a natty and very well could win it this year. Okay, I really do.
Yeah.
I really, really do. Unless barring something crazy, I really do. And I think it's setting Miami up to go on a run. Either another one with Luke Nickel,
yeah,
or that Darian Coleman, or both.
Yeah, because
Luke Nickel might come in for a year and he might be there for a year or two and do so well. He split. And then Coleman come in. That's why I don't see Shannon Dawson leaving so soon. I'm not saying he ain't gonna leave, but I think if Miami throw him enough bread and it's there where he can. Not everybody want to be a head coach,
right? Yeah.
Not everybody want to be a head coach because now when you a head coach, you just a CEO now. The money, it's more money. Yeah, money talks, true, but you're not really coaching. Very few head coaches are the ones that call the plays.
Right.
I can see that too.
4,000. Yeah, 4,000 yards. I can see them pass for over 4,000.
I can see our running backs. Man, listen. If we can have two running backs that's 1,000 yards apiece, they winning the whole thing. They winning the whole thing.
Yeah. It says what we got here. Say Cam really wasn't a running QB. He was a QB that had mobility, time to buy time to throw the ball.
And that's what Mensah is.
Yeah. Yeah, Cam always kept his eyes downfield. Always kept his eyes downfield. Bobby Pruitt, that's yep, okay. But yeah, he always kept his eyes downfield. So that was the beauty of Cam. If he did take off, it was last minute. Everything broke down. And if you notice, that's why later in the season, when we were really struggling and the defense was struggling, that they started zoning up to keep eyes on Cam. They was dropping shit, 8 guys in coverage at the end and just keeping eyes on them and letting them run, those little 8-yard, get 8 yards, pick it up. But they was not giving up the big play. Right. A lot of things what happened that season where they said Shannon Dawson should have ran the ball more, but I think they got so pass happy drunk that they lost balance last year, the year that Cam was there. It's just some of the years that was the thing that I did like about last year, that they were more balanced. A lot of people sometimes balance could be taken for a weakness, but I enjoyed the balance where you got guys.
They were more balanced.
Yeah, we're way more balanced, and that helps out with your defense too. A lot of people don't understand that either. You know, they were so quick strike under Cam. The defense was already horrible. You was throwing them back out there. And, you know, where they were more balanced. Last year, they would go on 10-play, 12-play drives, at least once a game, you know, and that takes a lot of pressure off your defense too, because they're not playing as many minutes either. You know, so it goes hand in hand, you know, so you want that balance to keep that pressure. You want to keep your defense on the sideline as much as possible to keep them fresh. Because if you don't, it could be long. It's a Chase Smith is another guy that we talked about. Chase Smith. Say don't forget about Chase Smith, Bobby Pruitt. It says we have no linebackers getting hurt this year. My fingers crossed. Yeah, we agree. We all a little bit thin. Your take on winning the ACC championship?
I think I'd rather win the Natty, but I'd rather just win it all, man. Don't leave no doubt. That's the mentality I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Don't leave any doubts. Don't leave any doubts. Just don't leave any doubts. Just win the whole damn thing. Win every game, and don't leave any doubts. Don't sit around wondering, are we going to get picked? Are they going to pick us? Just win out. Win every game. Don't lose any games. Don't lose to Notre Dame, period. There's no reason for that. They're not bringing back anything that should be – that's the media here. Again, they're feeling sorry for them for what happened, and they should have been in and woulda, coulda, shoulda. You shouldn't have let two G5 teams in.
Right.
There it is. You should have chose between James Madison and Tulane. You let two G5s in. You knew what was going to happen. They both got smoked. It was stupid. Ole Miss played Tulane again. They beat the brakes off them the first time. What happened?
Right.
They beat the brakes off them the next time.
What happened? Yeah. And that's crazy.
You knew James Madison, they gave Oregon the game. They just exposed Oregon, but you knew Oregon wasn't going to do – you knew what was going to happen. Come on.
Right.
So, yeah, Notre Dame should be upset with the whole process, not in Miami, but come on.
Yeah.
For Miami's sake, look, you're not just playing against the teams. You're playing against ESPN. You're playing against CBS. You're playing against Sports Illustrated. So you don't have to play against these people. Just win every game. Don't lose to anybody. And I'm just looking for that's what I liked about Jimmy. That's what I liked about Jimmy. When they lost to Penn State in that national championship game, they came back the next year. At 87, we got one goal, 12-0, no matter what. No matter what, we're coming back 12-0. They lost people. They lost Vinny. You would have thought, oh, they can't do it. They're losing their Heisman quarterback. There's no way Miami can go back. And what they do, they not only win it, they dominate a very strong Oklahoma team.
It's funny you say that, because
I'm sorry, but it's the same with 2000.
Yeah.
You lost the one game to Washington, and the AP picked you, but the computer BCS picked Florida State, who you beat.
Right.
And so the next year, what did they say? Leave no doubt, run the table. Hey. And they did, and we had to scare against Boston College. We had to scare with a little bit with Vitek at the end, with the block punt. It was, remember that game? And they won out. This year for Miami, it's the same thing now. Part 3, leave no doubt. You have to run the table and go 12-0, period. You run the table. I don't care if it's Virginia or who in the ACC title game, it should be no problem. But you have to run the table. That way there's no room for anybody to say, well, you lost this game and this team wasn't good. And
hey, and I think of this, E. I think Mario, a lot of people missing this point. Mario is not satisfied, and I'm going to tell you why.
No, he's not.
Here it is, you coming in this season, The team you beat at the beginning of the season, they coming in preseason ranked over you. Matter of fact, everybody thinking they're number one. After you didn't beat them. You go to the national championship game, barely lose.
Number one.
Yeah, you go to the national championship game, you barely lose, but all of a sudden, you keep hearing this narrative, well, if Notre Dame would have got in, they would have won it. I don't know how you automatically say if a team would have done something, they would have won something, but I digress on that. You know what I'm saying? You can't say if they got in, they would have won and they ain't played nobody in the damn thing, because you don't even know how the matchups would have failed. But on top of that, I think that's one thing that motivates Mario is just seeing the naysayers. It's some interesting storylines that's going on behind the scenes.
Remember, Miami wasn't supposed to be A&M. When they came out with the bracket, it was like, Miami's one and done. That's when the Notre Dame fans jumped in there. Well, we would have been in there. We would have had a rematch and blah, blah, blah. And then when they beat them, they said, if Miami can get past A&M at College Station, there's no way they're going to beat Ohio State. Remember all that?
There's no way they can win at College Station, not with 100,000 people. It's the greatest place to play football.
107,000 fans, and they only gave Miami 3,000 tickets. So 104,000 people was for Texas A&M, and Miami beat them dudes.
Right.
So, I mean, say what you want. They can say what they want. This preseason Notre Dame, I don't get it. And this year, I'm going to really go on there. I'm going to go on CBS, all of them. I'm going to ask them flat out. I'm going to go on Twitter. What the fuck makes you think Notre Dame is all that? You tell me what do they have that makes you think they should be even in the top 5? They lost both their running backs. They lost almost all their defense. All they are returning is some of their O-line and a quarterback. They lost their receivers. So what? I mean,
yeah. And Samuel, we did see Mario standing on the field. We saw him standing on after the loss. And I say Mario got unfinished business. That's the point that we're making.
It reminded me of the Syracuse game in '98. When they went up to that dome and got the brakes beat off of them by Donovan McNabb and them, and Syracuse won the Big East, and they was out there celebrating, and the wide receiver coach got Santana Moss and Reggie Wayne and all of them said, come on out here. And they sat out there in the tunnel and they watched them celebrate. That is where it all started, because next week they beat UCLA, where Edgerrin had 209. They came out, they were supposed to get their brains bashed in by UCLA because they was ranked number 2 in the country. UCLA was supposed to go play for a natty, and I think that's where it started. That's when the turnaround started.
Yeah.
Right. For that time period under Butch Davis is when it turned around, because they went up to that Carrier Dome and they embarrassed Miami.
Yeah.
They embarrassed them. Donovan McNabb, that's why I never liked Donovan McNabb. Still don't like McNabb. They come out, they embarrassed. He disrespected Miami. They embarrassed Miami. And Miami had a squad. They had They had Dan Morgan and Nate Webster and all of them. They had some and McNabb just embarrassed them, and they did disrespectful shit. That's why I say when they lost to Syracuse, I was upset, because they ain't never in life supposed to lose to them. Ever, ever, ever.
Right.
Syracuse. And with Mario coming out there and some of the other guys coming out there to see that at the end, watch Indiana celebrate, because Mario knew guys was leaving. He knew Bain was leaving and Messidor was leaving, and you knew Francis was leaving. It would have took something special for Bain and Francis to want to come back for their senior year.
Right.
But when you got everybody chirping in your ear, you going pro, go first round, go first round. That's the climate today.
Right.
If you'd have had dudes chirping in their ear, man, y'all want to come back and win this thing.
Right.
Y'all go pro anyway and get your money. Maybe things would have been different.
Maybe.
I digress. That's how it is now.
Well, I always look at it like this, especially if you're going to be a first rounder, you might as well go. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot to lose. That's true, too. I mean, that door swing both ways, Dwayne, because Ed Reed was a first rounder. He stayed. Right. Dorsey was a first rounder. He stayed. Who else was the first round dude and stayed? The only 2 dudes that I could think of on that team that left that were juniors
was Shockey and Portis.
Yeah.
All them other dudes came back for their senior year.
Yeah.
McDougal came back for his senior year. Jerome, the coach, he was a senior anyway. He left. What's the name? That's the D-line coach now. McDougal came back. Ed Reed came back. Dorsey came back. Who else come back? What's the name? He was a senior. He left. That's the D. That like that. He was the D-backs coach, and now he like over recruiting for Miami. He was a senior. He left. My point is, the climate is different. The narrative is different. They gonna tell these young dudes, go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be up to them if you want to stay to try to win again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it go both ways. Yeah. If I'm a first-round draft pick this year, I'm gonna be a first-round draft pick next year.
Yeah.
Was Fletcher a first-round pick if he'd have left early?
No.
Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Maybe with the kind of
I'll just say this because
a second-round pick.
They just so undervalued. That's what I've just said. Running backs in the league, they're kind of undervalued. Say first rounders can't stay, especially. And now I should have prefaced that by saying top 10.
In today's world, yeah, because it's hard to compare yesterday to today. Shockey was definitely top 10, and so was Portis.
Right.
They left. The money was there. They had nothing else to prove. Plus, what was coming behind them was arguably better with McGahee and Winslow.
Yeah.
So this time around, with Bain leaving and Francis leaving, you could argue that, Blunt might be better than Bain. Armando Blunt is a 5-star bad dude.
Yeah.
You could say that Cantwell might be better than Francis. Cantwell as a freshman might be better than Francis was as a freshman.
Okay.
So I can see, Francis going to get drafted in the first round, go ahead and go because I got somebody coming behind him that's could be even better.
Right.
Keontae out of time, he going to go.
Right.
Beck out of time, he going to go.
Right.
So I ain't mad, the situation with Njoku leaving and Kaya leaving, it had a lot to do with the timing, the depth. I think Kaya just didn't want to get his ass beat anymore at Miami on the line. I lost a tooth. If they would have had a line in front of Brad Kaya, I think he stays.
Right.
I think he stays. I think Njoku may have stayed. And if Kaya stays, that 10-0 team might have did more.
Yeah.
Might have did more. But, that's the past. So, these kids are different.
Hey, Ham, 8:50, man. What you doing on the clock, man? You sitting up here. Hey, we appreciate you hollering at us while you're at work.
Right. Suck you on the clock on a Sunday. I hope you're in the airline business or something. But
yeah, trucking or something. Shoot.
I can't see working weekends anymore. I can't do it, dude.
Nah. It says it said Ohio State, we're gonna beat them again. It says Meg Smith cry again. He said Miami was tampering on off season. He's crying now because kids that believe in Miami vision beat them, and now he's crying.
I think he realizes that he got one his freshman year.
Yeah.
Kudos to him.
Right.
The next year, he got humbled by the school that he was his hometown. And I think this year, Ohio State's not going to be all that. Indiana's not going to be all that. I think the team to watch in the Big Ten is going to be either USC, Oregon.
Yeah.
I think another team you're going to have to watch out for is Iowa. It's going to be more physical now. I think Mario opened the door for everybody in the country to see that the team that is more physical on the line of scrimmage is going to be the team that wins.
Plus, did you read the article about Dante Moore saying that he had some he was going through some mental issues because of I believe his mother was sick the year before or something.
He might have been.
And said he was going through a lot and stuff.
We're all human, man. We're all human. People go through shit. And a lot of us in the fan base, we attack the players because they're not up to par. And it's like, we don't know what's going on in each other's lives. I don't know what's going on in your life. There's something going on with your mom or dad or your kid in school. You got a daughter that's pregnant and she's 14. I don't know what's going on in your life.
Right.
You know, you got some shit going on in your life that even if it's not sports, you got your employer always telling you, you got to come to work and be 100% focused on your job. Well, I can't be 100% focused on my job if my son is in trouble in school, or maybe my kid's got a bully in school, or maybe my wife's having an affair, or I just found out.
Don't be going there.
I'm just saying, I'm throwing different things out there. You know?
Oh, no.
Maybe I got cancer and I just found out, or something.
Right.
All kind of shit that's gonna throw you off your square, and you ain't gonna be right. And it's the same with sports. Things go on in people's lives that throw you off. That's really more important than sports. And you're not going to be that same person because, man, my daddy over here just got his leg cut off. And I'm worried about my pops. And you all want me to go out here and be the star quarterback. Well, I got real life shit going on.
Right.
It's hard to separate that. And we as a fan base, we want all this excellence, you know.
Somebody got a question for you. He says, how about Michigan? They just got Kai Willinghams from Utah. Do you think they can compete for a Big Ten championship? I will say this, that Utah freshman quarterback that came in halfway through the season, that dude, he a baller. I was surprised. Well, I know
if Whittingham brings in the right coaches and they coach, if the Michigan players adapt and buy into what they coach, like they did at Utah, I think Michigan will be very formidable.
Yeah. Got a good quarterback.
They got the talent. They got the quarterback.
Yeah.
You got the quarterback. Then the teams I'm looking at I ain't worried about ACC teams. I ain't worried about Ohio State, Notre Dame, Indiana. The teams I'm looking at, if Miami make another run, the teams I'm thinking, okay, what are teams Miami could end up facing in the playoff? A Michigan, an Oregon, maybe an Iowa, maybe a Texas Tech again.
Well, how good you think James Franklin are going to be when he get his?
It's going to take him time.
At Virginia Tech, okay.
I think it's going to take him time. It's going to take him time like it took Mario to take time.
Yeah.
He's got to get his guys in there.
Yeah.
It's going to take him time. That's why Norvell is struggling right now. I bet you if Norvell could go back, he would have never fucking left Memphis. You had something good at Memphis. You had something good at Memphis. You could have been winning that conference every year and compete, but you chased the money. And you can't blame a guy. You come to a real program like Florida State, and you shit the bed.
He got paid though. Last year.
You got paid. You got paid, but you're going to go down as one of the worst coaches and get blamed for stuff.
Yeah. When
you were in Memphis, and Memphis is still not a bad team.
Yeah.
You could have stayed at Memphis and just like my man went to Wisconsin. You had something at Cincinnati.
It just seems like
it goes to show that chasing the money. It go to show like when we play dominoes, all money ain't good money, man.
Yeah, it just seems like when they left them out of the playoffs that year, the wheels came off.
It came off because you put all your eggs in the basket and it worked. You had the best defense in the country with all these NIL transfer dudes that come in, and you still won games even when your quarterback got hurt. You still win the ACC, and what they do to you.
Yeah.
The powers that be stuck it to you wrongfully.
Right.
And then all your guys decide to sit out, and then Carson, Beck, and them beat your brakes off in the bowl game with McConkey and Brock Bowers and them. They literally – now, would that have happened if all his dudes stayed and played? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm going to say that defense was rough.
I'm not saying Florida State would have beat Georgia, but I think it would have been a way better game if all them dudes that came to Florida State that made that defense so good, if they would have stayed and played in that bowl game.
Yeah.
But they was upset because they got left out.
Yeah.
And I think they got left out for a reason, because they would have messed up the shit in that Final Four.
And it's interesting because
I don't know who made the Final Four that year.
I don't know.
Because it wasn't Georgia and it wasn't Florida State. I know it was Alabama.
I think it was only 4 teams in there that year, wasn't it?
It was still a 4-game playoff.
Yeah.
And they knew Florida State would have messed
the
it
year
up.
that K-State and then was it the year that
they knew that
I can't remember.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That was 2023, right?
Yep.
Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama.
Michigan won it that year with the cheating scandal.
That's when they beat Washington.
Yeah.
In the Natty. Because it rained that night here.
And then Harbaugh left, and then they said he was doing whatever he did. Yeah.
Right. See?
Yep.
One and done. He split to go to the Chargers.
Yep.
Then the brother get the job, and now we found out all the charges against him for old girl got dropped.
Yeah. Hey, can't make
what
this
the
up. You
all
can't
the
make it.
We thought dude did some crazy shit. Remember?
I say, boy, he crashed out, didn't he? Boy, that's some.
Now you come. All the charges got dropped against him.
Right. Hey, we're not condoning anything, but
like, did they just want to get him out of there?
Hey, you know how stuff work. So it said,
yeah. So Florida State got screwed that year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
they got screwed. I think they got screwed for Alabama, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I'm thinking that's why, because even though old boy got hurt, they won the ACC title game. They beat NC State. They didn't beat them by a lot, but they beat them. The offense didn't look the same because their quarterback got hurt. What was his name? Trevor something.
Travis.
Travis something. He got hurt.
Yeah.
They
Jordan
still
Travis,
won.
I think his name was
Jordan or something.
Travis, yeah.
They still won. They won the ACC, was undefeated, and they left them out.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Wow, man, that was. And I'm not a Florida State fan, but they got messed over on that, man.
Yeah,
because I think they got in, and it would have left somebody out.
That's just crazy. Like I said, I'm not a Florida State fan, but I just don't even know. To me, that's when, and that's what we talk about when it came to Miami. You start questioning the integrity of the game. When they talk about, oh, well, their quarterback out, they don't look like the same team. That don't make a difference. They got backups for a reason.
That's right.
You don't go in the NFL and say, hey, the guy won. They just won the week before, but since he got knocked out and they playing a backup, oh, no, we can't play him in the playoffs. We got to put another team in. Like, it makes no sense, So that's just crazy. It says, well, FLS, you know how we feel because we should have played Oklahoma instead of them for the 2000.
Yeah, that's true, but that don't make it right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I said, we can't cry over spilled milk. It is what it is.
Right.
It is what it is.
All right, well, shoot. Hey, well, we're going to wrap this up this week. We're going to be back same time, same place next week. Hit that like button if you haven't hit it. Subscribe to the channel. Take us on out.
Yeah. Everybody have a great week. Check up on Miami when you can. I am, on the spring practices and all that. And these recruits. I just read that big that African boy that plays rugby out of Ireland or England. They say he's gonna pick South Carolina, and they saying Miami is saying that's fine because they were bigger fish on the board on the O-line. Dude, the athlete, he's 6'7". He's a hell of an athlete.
Right.
They was looking at him to play guard, but if he's gonna choose South Carolina, they said that the coach there really want him. So all right. So anyway. We'll keep up with these recruits at Miami, looking at these high school kids that are choosing, and keep watching this spring practice because I think we're in store for another special season. I really think this is the year Miami gets over the hump. Don't pay attention to these national pundits and who they picking because they've exposed themselves. They always pick the same old, and Miami ain't part of their same old.
Right.
And they've exposed themselves. That they've always been against Miami and they still are. If you look at it as far as X's and O's, there's no reason why Miami shouldn't be in the top picks as far as a team that could possibly repeat.
Right. I feel the same way.
So how you not pick Miami, but you got Indiana still up there, and they lost almost all their team, and you got a Notre Dame up there that they lost most of their team, and you got Oregon up there. Okay, that's fair, but if you look at the team that was the most physical, they had the hardest road to get to where they had to go, and they got there. Then
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today. We'll holler at you guys. Drop me a comment. Let me know how you guys doing out there. Holla.
all right, y'all. Good week.